Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Shamaria Jackson, and in today's episode, we are going to be covering everything from the coronavirus pulling a fast one on the residents of New Jersey as well as New York, to Remy Ma explaining her issues with Nicki Minaj. All of that and more on today's social media news podcast. Stick around. Just when New York and New Jersey thought they had some slack with the coronavirus, another record shows something different. According to the New York Post, there was about 779 virus-related deaths in the state in the past 24 hours. Which is the highest one-day total yet. I'll repeat that. That is the highest one-day total yet. The number of virus patients in the hospitals increased on Tuesday night by 3%. Then it went down by 10% before going back up to 25%. New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy stated, quote, "We are in the fight of our lives, and we remain in the fight for our lives," end quote. Governor Murphy has ordered customers and workers at grocery stores to not only wear face masks, but they're also capping the number of shoppers at stores, which would allow in half of its usual capacity. Mr. Murphy also ordered all non-essential construction in New Jersey to halt Friday 10th. So some interesting news that I found out was that the new deaths announced on Wednesday brought New York State's total to about 6,298, which is about double the number of people in the 9/11 terror attack. And some more interesting news that I found was that more than half of the inmates in New York City's jails have been quarantined due to the coronavirus outbreak. There's about 287 inmates, 441 staff members, and 75 healthcare workers who have been infected with the virus in the New York jails, which is about 282 more than the inmates that were infected at the Marion Correctional Institute in Ohio. New York officials has also made the move to release hundreds of inmates in the hopes of slowing the outbreak among those still being held. Now, those that has been released were those being held on parole violations, those being accused of minor crimes, those serving a year or less, and those that are older or have had pre-existing health problems, which comes to about 600 inmates being released. And that's from Rikers Island complex and the city's other jails as a result of the outbreak. Okay, so here is my opinion on everything that is kind of going on. I stated this in the last podcast, which is New York City is such a hard place for the coronavirus to not, spread. It's so hard because New York City it's a city, meaning there's a ton of people that is in New York City. There's no such thing as social distancing. People are trying their best to social distance, but it's obviously becoming something that is so hard. And because this coronavirus has had many jobs, again, being shut down, who are without money in order to get through life. Many people are being affected, meaning a lot of people have had to do some type of crime in order to keep food on their plate, their lights on, a roof over their head. This is becoming something that is bigger than anyone else. So because they've had to do certain things, crimes are being held. So because crimes are being held, there's more people that are going into doing what they don't want to do. Or they're doing what they don't want to do, but they're doing what they have to do. Therefore, crime is going up. So what happens when crime goes up? The jail system starts to get filled, which, as we can see, a lot of people, like I said once before, are catching the coronavirus and don't even know that they have the coronavirus. So what does that mean? That means that inmates are going to increase, which means, less room. And as we've just heard, a lot of people are being released. Why? Because the jail system is starting to become jam-packed, because there's a lot of people who have spread the coronavirus in this confined space. So yes, I understand that, they're trying to quarantine those that have the coronavirus, but whether you like it or not, that coronavirus is going to spread to those who might not have it. Because as I've said earlier and once before, a lot of people may have the coronavirus and not even know that they have the coronavirus. So there's no way that you are going to quarantine those that are kind of already quarantined. At least that's just my opinion. That's going to be something that's very hard for someone to do. So they're saying that they're quarantining those that have the coronavirus. But again, many people are not even knowing the symptoms that they may have, or they might have already spread it to someone else. So then that person is going to spread it to the next person that doesn't have the coronavirus, but then they do have the coronavirus. That's just going to be a very hard thing to do. Then you have more inmates that are coming in who may or may not have the coronavirus. So then they're trying to make room for them. So are they going to do the same thing that they did in Ohio, which is, stop taking people in to a certain institution? Or are they just going to quarantine everyone? It doesn't make sense, because in such a small confined spaces as a correctional facility, there's no way that you can quarantine it's already confined. So how are you going to confine something that's already confined? It's already going to be spread. There's no way, there's nothing around it. It's already going to be spread. So what are the steps? And as far as New York, I feel like they're doing everything that they can. And, their rates of hospital increase and decrease and then increase again. I feel like it's a cycle. You see it decrease, and then you see an increase, and then you see a decrease again. It's so hard to pinpoint it as to where and why it's an increase and a decrease and then an increase again, because again, people are around people and you don't necessarily know if someone else has it. So what are some more steps that New York and New Jersey should do to ensure that no one else can get the COVID-19 so that their numbers are not as high in the future? And although it sounds simple, it seems to be such a hard task that a lot of people are finding finding to be quite difficult. And it's something that's spread all over Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, basically every social media handle. And that's stay at home. Something that's so simple is yet so hard. So it's going to be very interesting just to kind of figure out and navigate through how New York and New Jersey are going to deal with something this big and this huge going forward. And you can social distance yourself, but it's so easy for something like this to come about. It's hard to say how and why that is happening. But many people are actually beginning to blame certain events like Mardi Gras. So could Mardi Gras be the reason that the virus spread so quickly? We're going to find out after this short break.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Before the break, I was talking about the increased outbreak that New York and New Jersey has had to face, and how New York especially is having such a hard time social distancing themselves, which has made an increase and then a decrease and then an increase again in people that are in the hospital. And then I also went off of that and talked into people in the New York jails that have recently been released and quarantined due to the coronavirus, and how they're basically dealing, with quarantining inmates and releasing inmates. And I don't really think that they have a set thing to do, because these are inmates who are in confined spaces, meaning they are around each other all of the time. And it's such a hard thing to get control of. So just finding out how they're doing that is interesting. But I could ask, or some people have wondered, could the role of this worldwide virus being spread be put on Mardi Gras? It's a very it's one thing to pinpoint, and I actually got this idea or news from the Daily Post, which is a part of the New York Post, and they posted on their podcast that they believe that the worldwide virus being spread should be put on Mardi Gras. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you know that Bourbon Street is a hot spot. And it is no way, shape, or form anything close to social distancing. Matter of fact, there's no such thing as social distancing on Bourbon Street. Everyone is around each other. There's different people. There's different cultures. Everyone and anyone is on Bourbon Street. It is actually a hotspot. And on top of that, it's also a hotspot for the spread of coronavirus. When Mardi Gras was coming to a close, there was actually a number of patients with, quote, mysterious respiratory illnesses, end quote, appearing in hospitals, many of which has not recently left the country. Then bam, The COVID-19 diagnosis soon followed. Then, going off of that, there's a new research that shows the virus actually being circulated in the New York area mid-February, weeks before the first confirmed case, which was brought mainly by travelers from Europe, not Asia. So how does this tie together? In my opinion, it's people trying to play the blame game. It's a lot of they did it, I didn't do it, or I did it, they didn't do it. It's not a lot of people just saying, hey, it just happened. There's a lot of people trying to place the blame on not only like different, events that might have happened. They're trying to place it on one group of people, or they're trying to place it on one event. They're trying to say, oh, it's only this amount. It's only this group of people. They're trying to say that Mardi Gras caused it, or they're trying to say that, Florida caused it, or they're trying to say that California caused it, New York caused it. They're saying all of these different things instead of saying what the matter truly is, which is these events happened and it brought a lot of travelers. And that's from anyone. Everyone travels. Everyone has taken a plane or a train or a bus or a car or road trip. Everyone has traveled. So it's not fair to just blame one group of people or one event. Because in reality, people spreading it can come from just about anyone, especially if they don't know they have it. Which means that they could have caught it from just about anyone. And you forgot to mention that not only can humans have it, but animals can have it too. So you could have go to New Orleans and have fun on Bourbon Street, or you could have went to the Houston Zoo. So you can't place the blame on one event, and you can't place the blame on one group of people. So first off, let's talk about the similar things between New York City and New Orleans. Both cities offer an entirely unique experience, which means people of different cultures, people of different traditions, and countries are coming to experience that as well. They have architecture and cultural traditions that are distinctive, which also in turn attracts a variety of different people and cultures. People all around the world come to experience not only a fun time, but something that may be different from their everyday lives. So this isn't just people coming from Europe or people coming from Asia. These could be people coming from Florida. These could be people coming from Philadelphia, California, Washington, everyone of different cultures, of different traditions, of different backgrounds. So again, this is not fair. So do I think that Mardi Gras had a part in spreading the coronavirus? Yes, I feel like it did have a part. Do I feel that this is a sole reason? No. People also forget that during this time, college was in full spring, meaning a lot of college students went on spring break, which was people traveling everywhere from Florida to California to New York, Nevada, and yes, even New Orleans. Some were even going out of the country. So it's easy, word of mouth spreads easily, but a virus can spread 10 times that. So people are saying, oh, it's the Mardi Gras, or oh, there's like a sickness going around. It's just like a respiratory illness. But people forget that because people are around each other all the time, another thing is that people share their illnesses on boat rides, on plane rides, on the bus, everywhere. So I don't feel like it's again right to just blame one event. I feel like all of this is because people might have heard about the illness, but I feel also like a lot of people kind of downplayed the illness. They weren't trying to make it as big as what it actually became. So they were still continuing to go to different events, go to different states. Some were even going out of the country, not thinking that it was going to be something this big. So do I blame the events? In a way, yes, because they didn't stop the people from going into big crowds like it did. We've seen the news actually telling people and putting up warnings, telling people, stop, you need to start to distance yourself. But, there are people out there that were not really listening, or better yet, caring, because they felt like it was a mixture of nothing. So because of this, I feel like it was a mixture of events. I feel like the reason that this virus became so mainstream was because it was a mixture of events. It was a mixture of events still going on and still being held, to people not really caring. And a lot of times, and even right now with people not wanting to stay in quarantine, it's all about rebelling and wanting to do what they want to do, even if it hurts them or their loved ones. So again, do I feel like this is just one event? No, I don't. That is my opinion. And those are my thoughts when it came down to saying that Mardi Gras is the reason as to why the COVID-19 became so big. And coming up after the break, could the decrease of economic activity actually help and benefit the Earth's natural vibrations? That's coming up right after the break. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. Before the break, a lot of the blame game was occurring yesterday, to where people began to blame not only New York City for the outbreak, but they were also beginning to blame Mardi Gras in New Orleans for its part in passing the virus. However, in this segment, I wanted to talk about the benefits that the economy may have by everyone quarantining themselves. I know everyone is bored. I know everyone is getting so tired of being quarantined, but this may actually benefit the Earth. So here's what I read. Seismologists have been able to hear the Earth's natural vibrations more clearly as the Earth's everyday hum of humanity has grown quieter. Why is that? It's because electricity usage in the United States has fallen sharply in the past month, which is a clear sign of a decreased economic activity. So, let me break it down. Seismologists are people who study the seismic waves. Seismic waves are energy waves caused by the rock suddenly breaking apart within the earth or slipping of tectonic plates. We know these events as earthquakes. They can also be caused by explosions from volcanic eruptions and the testing of nuclear bombs. To break it down so that there's no confusion, seismologist focuses on earthquakes and other seismic, aka energy activity that could threaten our security. Geologists study earth materials and formations to help us understand how Earth moves and develops. According to seismology.be, you can tell the coronavirus has upended a lot of people's lives because the thumping of pulses of civilization is barely being detectable on many seismograms. That thumping pulse of civilization that they were talking about is that everyday hum of humanity, which is people moving about in cars, trains, buses, which has a seismically detectable heartbeat. This is becoming more apparent in places that have more energy, I guess you can say. That's apparent in Los Angeles, California, and in London, England. Dr. Killemiger stated on Twitter, quote, "Footsteps are quieter than traffic, but don't be tempted. Stay at home and stay safe," end quote. However, in Louisiana, with curfew being from the hours of 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. for all citizens, except in the case of true emergencies and going to work or to the hospital, there is a fine as well as jail time. The penalty for violating emergency curfews is about $500 and 6 months in jail. And if that's not scary enough, the alarm that Louisiana has set in place is scary, like scary. It's the purge alarm, which is like giving officials the go-to to like go on like a ticketing and arresting frenzy. So that should help people. If the seismologists aren't giving you something to look forward to, such as helping your economy, I think maybe a $500 fine as well as 6 months in jail will probably help you out. And if that still doesn't work, this purge alarm should do the trick. I feel that although people are getting so tired of being in the house and being quarantined and not being able to go anywhere, especially at night, I feel that although people are getting sick and tired of it, in some way, shape, or form, this is something that can benefit the earth. And because we only have this earth, we want to make sure that we are keeping it healthy and safe for the next generation, because we're only going to be here for a short amount of time. I mean, truth be told, this is true. We're only going to be here for a short amount of time. So we want to make sure that our kids and their kids and so on and so forth, that we're leaving this earth in the best condition that we possibly can. So I understand that we need electricity and we need a lot of economic things. However, we are in some way hurting it. These seismologists are saying that although we hate being quarantined, this is helping the economy. And if we have to do something to where, like, if we have to do something that Louisiana is doing to ensure that everyone is being safe and being healthy, I wouldn't personally say use the purge alarm because, again, that is scary. But I am saying, maybe we need to look more into what we are doing to benefit the earth and everyone on Earth. To say that they have seen a significant amount of economic improvement since the quarantine, that just goes to show you how we have neglected everything going on around us. Do I think we do it on purpose? No, I think it's a subconscious feeling. We don't mean to do it, it just happens. We don't mean to, be stuck in traffic. We don't mean for traffic to always happen. However, it just happens. It just happens. So between the halting of basically all moving vehicles, whether that's planes, trains, or cars, I feel that's also helped our economy so much. And that's possibly why we have had such an improvement since we have been in quarantine, which will hopefully help us once we leave out of quarantine. That's all I can say for that. Right now, I'm going to stop talking about the economy. I'm going to stop talking about coronavirus. I'm going to stop talking about everything that is just helping to remind us that we are stuck in quarantine. And instead, I am going to shift on to talking about simmers. And if you don't know what a simmer is, those are gamers who play The Sims. And we're going to talk about some new simmer news right after the break. Stay tuned.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back. We have made it through another segment of just talking strictly about quarantining, the coronavirus, and everything in between. We've even made it through talking about the benefits of being quarantined. I know I just said that, but right now I'm going to talk about another benefit of being quarantined, and it's mostly for all of my simmers out there, including myself. Lo and behold, another game stuff pack is in the works, and maybe even an expansion pack. EA Games has called it the Road to 6 months, and basically in those 6 months, we're expected to receive not only a new game pack, but a new stuff pack as well as an expansion pack. Yes, we are currently hard at work on the new community voted stuff pack. However, I can't tell you its name because we have not voted on that yet. End quote. In addition to the stuff pack, like I just stated, there is said to be a new expansion pack. Something with new surprise additions, massive changes, and a game pack, which is said to be a first for everyone. So as far as our Sims go, Sims has been around, again, for such a long time to where it has expanded globally to where just about everyone plays it. There's about 7 expansion packs, 8 game packs, and about 16 stuff packs. They also said, quote, "We want to help our community. We want to help our community of players connect with each other and us in this time of social distancing. We're not ready to spill all the details, but I am thrilled about it. End quote. So here's my opinion about The Sims and basically all of their expansion packs, stuff packs, and game packs. So for those of you guys who are not Simmers, who have no idea what the difference is between an expansion pack, a game pack, and a stuff pack, well, don't worry, I have you covered. An expansion pack is a significant or a large add-on to the game. So that's where your Sims University comes in play, or that's where your Sims Seasons come into play. And then you have a game pack, which is the Sims 4 version of a stuff pack. So they're kind of alike. Both of them include or contain a small add-on that basically comes into play with, stuff such as Sims Parenthood, or the Sims Parenthood is an example of a game pack, whereas a stuff pack is something like Sims 4 Perfect Patio. So it's something that you're going to want to get to make your game a little bit more interesting and a little bit more fun, which is kind of the point of Sims. It's all about having another life, another living, and trying to control it. It sounds so weird, but once you actually sit down and play it, it's a total different experience. Something that my brother once told me was, you're going to want something, if you're playing a game and you're sitting down and you like playing the game, that's for you. Keep in mind that Sims is not for everyone. Not everyone likes Sims. It takes a special person to like Sims. And I guess I'm a special person that loves playing Sims. With a new expansion pack, as well as, a new game pack and then a new stuff pack, that's obviously going to put a lot of data onto your computer. And so the main issue that a lot of people are having is the fact that the graphics may be too high for certain people, for certain computer systems. So the main question is, will this be something that someone on an older computer can play on? Again, because they love The Sims, they just don't have the system that possibly likes The Sims. So is that where the new Sims Legacy comes in, or is this going to be something else that we have to look forward to? So many of you are probably asking, okay, what is this Sims 4 Legacy Edition that you are talking about? Well, it's a gaming system. It's basically the same thing as the regular Sims. However, it's for people who have an unsupported system. And that's basically meaning that you're finding out that your system is no longer being supported or has the adequate amount of space for you to have your sim game, or even for your sim game to even play on your system. Again, the things we do to play on Sims. That's why I'm wondering, if you do everything through the Sims 4 Legacy Edition, when you add on the new expansion pack, game pack, and stuff pack, will that all basically just be too much for your computer? And in turn, will it just mean that this person just cannot play the new edition that EA Games came out with? And I just want to know, if they're saying that they're adding something that's brand new even for them, I wonder, how good is this going to be? How big are they going to go? Again, my overall question is, how much can you stuff in a stuff pack, or how much can you put in a game pack or even an expansion pack without overwhelming the system? Will everyone be able to play this time, or is it just some people? Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited, because obviously I'm a simmer and I'll end up buying the game because it's me. I'm also a type of person that puts custom content on my stuff, but again, that's another subject for another day. Right now, I'm just really excited as to what EA plans on doing with The Sims and how they're planning on expanding the experience for the game and ensuring that everyone gets to grow and expand with The Sims. So during this 6-month road, I'm super excited to find out what they're doing or even what they're naming it, and even what each of them has to offer to benefit my gaming experience and everyone else's gaming experience. Coming up after the break, we're talking all about music drama, because as we all know, there's not a day that goes by where there's not any music industry drama. Find out right after this break.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back. Remy Ma and Fat Joe recently went on live and spoke on her drama with Nicki Minaj, and also how she opened up the doors for the new MCs or female MCs. Remy Ma stated that her and Nicki Minaj maintained a friendly competition in the earlier years when Remy was known as the undisputed queen of New York, while Nicki Minaj was the hungry up-and-comer. Nicki Minaj's rise through the ranks of rap, as well as her crossover success, occurred while Remy was serving a 6-year sentence for accidentally shooting her friend. In an interview with Hot 97, Remy discussed a conversation that she had with Nicki. She also said that she was proud of Nicki's success and explained that she wouldn't come after her simply because she didn't believe in tearing down a successful black female that's doing what she's supposed to be doing. So what happened? What made Remy Ma release Sheether? If you don't know what Sheether is, it's a diss track that Remy Ma made toward Nicki Minaj in about 2017. Remy Ma stated, or she explained, that Nicki Minaj had attempted to keep her off of red carpets at award shows, and she was just generally interfering with a lot of her career. In other words, she was doing everything that she could to make sure that Remy Ma wasn't progressing in her career. And the same could be said toward other female rappers. Lil' Kim actually came in and said that Nicki Minaj was doing the exact same thing. Remy Ma actually said, quote, "I actually liked her, but don't try and come for me. It just bothers me that me picking apart another female is what went viral. We could have done this working together." I think what Remy Ma was actually talking about when she stated that Nicki Minaj was just stopping a lot of people's bags was actually true, because it wasn't just Nicki Minaj. It was Lil' Kim as well as other female artists. And it was just becoming such a huge issue. And it became very apparent that Nicki Minaj wasn't very liked in the rap community. However, at the same time, you do have to ask the question, why is this still a subject? Why is Remy Ma still talking about this? We understand that, Nicki Minaj made it apparent when she decided to stop a bag. She decided to stop food from coming into someone else's mouth. But at the same time, I just feel that Remy Ma could have worked a little bit harder into making sure that she does get a bag and that she does get to go to red carpets and award shows and, you know, things that Nicki Minaj couldn't interfere with in her career, which boils down to the music. What is Nicki Minaj doing to stop her from making hit songs? Truth be given, you can stop someone from, you know, going to award shows, and you can stop someone from genuinely making it. However, you can't stop someone from making hit songs. Nothing stopped her from making the first Sheether. Nothing. So what was stopping her from making another hit song? Was it her flow, or was it just people genuinely not being interested in her old school form of rap? Were people not being interested in hearing an actual lyricist? Whereas Nicki Minaj just kind of can intermingle from rap to pop. So at some point, yes, we understand that Nicki Minaj is kind of a source as to why she was stopping her bag. But at the same time, what are you doing? What is Remy doing to ensure that something like this isn't going to happen again? And again, I haven't really heard anything from Remy Ma except, you know, the punch that she may or may not have done to Britney from Love and Hip Hop. Although I do like a lot of Nicki's music and I do like her boss attitude, she has a work ethic attitude, I have to admire that about her. What I don't like is the fact that a lot of the times you can tell that she likes to see other female rap artists succeed. However, I don't feel like she wants them to go anywhere above her, which is possibly the reason as to why she is so disliked in the rap community. I understand that she's talking about the drama that she has with Nicki Minaj, but at what point are we going to get new music instead of her continuously bringing up Nicki Minaj? And then at the same time, when she was talking about opening doors for the new crop of female MCs, I also have to ask, you know, what else has she done? A lot of female MCs has actually sat down and said who they were inspired by. And a lot of people actually said Lil' Kim, someone who's actually been in the industry, someone who has actually set out hit tracks. I've not heard a hit track from Remy Ma. I hate to say that, and I hate to be messy, but it's actually the truth. What has Remy Ma done to make her someone who has opened the doors for female MCs? Again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just stating facts. Facts are facts. What has she done? I like to see action. And I haven't seen a lot of action with Remy Ma. I've seen a lot of action with Lil' Kim. We've actually seen her progress. We've actually seen the tracks that she's laid down. We've actually seen work. Even Lil' Kim has stated, Nicki Minaj has tried to stop my bag. But we actually see that that's not stopping Lil' Kim. In some way, I feel like Remy Ma has just stopped. We've seen her more on shows, and we've seen her more talking about her child. Again, there's nothing wrong with that at all. We just want to know, like, how has she opened up the doors? She was very well known in Queens, but as far as everywhere, no. And I just have to state facts where facts is facts. Again, it's that, oh yeah, girl, I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do the best job and best person you can be and best rap artist you can be. I want to see you make it to the top. But the moment you get on the same level, then it becomes an issue. And we could see that very apparently with Nicki Minaj. especially after everything kind of exploded. And this is not me bashing Nicki Minaj or Remy Ma. I am just simply stating an observation that I've noticed. But like I've stated every time I go on my podcasts, every time I mention the music industry drama, there's 3 sides to a story. There's Remy's side, Nicki's side, and the truth. And although a lot of people are saying, you know, Nicki Minaj stopped my bag, Nicki Minaj did this, Nicki Minaj did that, although some of it might be true, we have never really heard a lot of Nicki's side, because I feel like there's a lot of things that Nicki covers up. I also feel like there's a lot of things that other people cover up as well. So I feel like we're not always going to get the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth. I feel like we're going to get the half truth. So it's a little sprinkle of the truth, but we're never going to get the full pie. So we shouldn't really have our hand out to want it, but here we are. Oh my gosh. And speaking of never really knowing the truth, did you guys see Keely Williams and Raven-Symoné go on live the other night? It was messy. It was so messy. Raven-Symoné was already on live, and a few of her fans were asking her if she would ever go live with Keely Williams. Keely Williams, I guess requests to join Raven-Symoné's live, and the two start talking like old friends, as if Raven-Symoné wasn't just on live with someone else, basically talking about Keely Williams, and as if Keely Williams wasn't just on live the other day, spilling all the tea about her and Adrienne Bailon. So anyway, the two get on live and they start acting like old buddies, like they've known each other their whole lives, which they kind of did. They've known each other for half of their lives. However, they haven't talked since the original Cheetah Girls, like a one-on-one conversation. From what Raven-Symoné has said, they have not had a one-on-one conversation. So it's kind of awkward. Anyway, so after those two had their talk, Raven told Keely, hey, you have to talk to Adrienne. Keely said no. Then she explained why she didn't want to talk to Adrienne. And the two talked some more. And then Keely got off of Instagram Live. And Raven-Symoné just started laughing. And she was basically saying, oh, no, I'm just laughing because I haven't talked to her I haven't talked to her for this long. It was very entertaining. It was also very messy, but it was great entertainment. So I don't know. Have you guys seen the Raven-Symoné and Keely Williams Instagram Live? That way we can get back to you and we can know your thoughts on the situation. After the break, I'm going to talk all about Tiger King and my final thoughts. Coming right up right after this break.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back, guys. We are on our very last subject of today's podcast. And I promised you guys on the last podcast that I was going to give you guys my final opinion on the actual Tiger King series that was on Netflix. I watched this roller coaster of emotions and thoughts on this series. The series was just crazy, and I don't even know how to put the rest in words. Now, remember how I told you guys that I just felt that Joe just kind of stopped caring about the tigers and started caring more about his appearance? Well, it was actually said on the very last episode. Also, a warning, if you guys have not seen Tiger King yet, this is going to be a spoiler alert, so be prepared. If you want to stop and you want to skip all the way to the end, I'm not going to judge you. So you should go on and do it now. Joe was sentenced to 22 years, and I've noticed a lot in his case. We have a lot of people that done wrong, but we've also noticed that Joe was kind of the only one who took the fall. I'm not going to really talk about Jeff Lowe because I feel like Jeff Lowe should have been in prison a very long time ago. But again, that's just my opinion. And then as far as John Finley goes, and Eric Coaway and Rick Kirkland, I don't really know what to say about them. But as far as Carol goes, Carol definitely needs to be in prison because what happened to her husband? No one knows what happened to her husband. All of the signs point to the fact that she killed her husband. But, I guess you're innocent until proven guilty. But in this case, she's kind of shown herself to be guilty multiple times. From her husband missing to her saying that if you want to kill someone or if you want to make sure that a lion or tiger eats something, you just cover them in like something that they want to eat. How would you know that? And then you also have to ask yourself, why does he always look so uncomfortable? We're not even going to talk about the fact that, their wedding pictures was just crazy. We're also going to talk about the fact that his family there's a way you can dislike someone, but all of them has said, quote, "We think Carol killed our dad, but we're afraid to go to authorities because of money." Nothing in the world would stop me from saying someone killed my mom. It just wouldn't. Money or no money. This person killed my mom. They got to go away. And that's that. So there are rumors that the case is going to be reopened, which I definitely think it should. Did Joe do some messed up stuff? Yes, because once again, like I said on the last podcast, he was worrying more about everyone around him and his image than he was about running his zoo and taking care of the animals. So you can definitely tell where he went off. Do I think he deserved 22 years? No. There might have been something else thrown in as to why he had 22 years, which didn't go into correlation with fraud, embezzlement, and possibly getting Carol killed or a hitman out for Carol. But it's another story for another day, because this is all that we're going to cover. Guys, we have already covered the quarantine helping our economy. We've talked about how New York City is going through highs and lows and then back to highs of the death toll and people being in the hospital. We've talked about some of the changes that New Jersey is doing. We've talked about how different events and places might have added to the virus spread. And then we've talked about the crazy Louisiana curfew and their alarm. And then finally, we've talked about, Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma's beef and how she actually helped, or how she thinks she opened up the doors for the new crop of female MCs. Again, that is a lot that we have covered. I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, once again brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review, because that really helps us out. Also, if you can, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you, and have a good night, a good day, and everything in between.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.